welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish. Thank you for tuning in. If you've been a long-time listener to the show, thank you for hanging with me. It's been months since I've done a show, and I'm not happy about that, not proud of that, but unfortunately life happens. You know, things get in the way, and between going back and forth to Vanderbilt for my wife, ended up quitting my job, doing some other things. It's been absolute hectic, insane last few months. So, but I'm gonna try to get back on track here, and I'm going to try to start doing this regularly again. And maybe I'll learn how to speak at some point. But gonna try to do this on a somewhat regular basis. You know, I can start uploading back to Patreon, back to YouTube, back to Spotify, etc. And hopefully get some content back on there, because it's been way too long. Even debating whether or not I want to experiment a little bit with Rumble. I might upload some things to there, and I'll let everyone know in the future if that occurs. So, but what's been going on since our last show? It seems like everything in wrestling has happened. Excuse me. You know, the WWE went to the ESPN format for PLEs, ESPN Plus, which has made it cost prohibitive for a lot of people, myself very much included. I can no longer watch the PLE, so it's very difficult for me to comment on wrestling when I can only watch half of the WWE-based material out there, you know. And I don't want to start covering other promotions. I don't want to start covering other leagues in a sense. You know, as fun as that might be, I really don't. AEW has just been dreadful to try to get through, and without being able to follow the PLEs, like I say, it's become much more difficult to continue the show, in addition to the other events that have been happening in my life. So, but we're going to try to continue the show with a slightly different format. So, rather than being like a wrap-up or commentary show on a lot of the current events in wrestling and whatnot, I mean, we still will cover wrestling. I will try to integrate a lot more of other subjects, though. I think we're going to be more of like a more of like a similar format to like what Chris Jericho has, minus the interviews kind of thing, and have a broad range of topics, and hopefully people enjoy that. Like I say, unfortunately, it's just become way too cost prohibitive to continue to keep up to date and be on track with the WWE product. Having a family, having all sorts of things going on, it's not easy. And especially, like I mentioned, having a spouse with a chronic illness is not something that, you know, I need to focus on that, obviously, and not a bunch of guys running around play fighting as much as I enjoy watching wrestling. But that's kind of the state of where things are. I mean, since I've done my last show, some of the events that have occurred have been John Cena retiring officially, AJ Styles retiring, which really was a difficult one for me, because AJ Styles has been my favorite wrestler for a very long time, ever since his TNA days. And let me take a swig of water here, otherwise I feel like I'm going to gag. I just made some gingerbread bread, some gluten-free gingerbread, which came out pretty good, but I think it's affecting my throat right now. Excuse me. Hacking up here a little bit, but yeah, AJ Styles retired, and of all places, Saudi, which, I wish they'd picked a better place than that, but I did really thoroughly enjoy, like, the interaction between him and Cena. You could see the massive amount of respect that they had for each other, and I'm gonna miss seeing AJ, but as he kind of mentioned, I watched the Stephanie McMahon interview afterwards. Pretty good, and I think he felt that if he couldn't perform up to the standard that he established for himself, that he didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, and the sad thing is, like, 80, 70, 60% of AJ Styles is still better than 90% of the other wrestlers out there, so it's unfortunate, but I understand where he's coming from, and kind of a weird way to do it. I wish they would have done a little more fanfare, but electing him into the Hall of Fame almost immediately afterwards was pretty intense. I liked them choosing Undertaker to give the news and announce a very emotional moment, very real, very cool moment. Trying to think. I liked seeing Frankie Kazarian and Abyss. Chris Parks, I believe his name is. He's a producer now at WWE, coming out for for the celebration afterwards. If anybody's gonna retire AJ, I guess why not let it be Gunther? I can kind of see that. AJ, I can envision him being, an old school attitude of, you go out wrestling, you go out on your back, and that's traditionally that's the way things have gone. And but it was really nice to see someone as prominent in wrestling history and as important to WWE as The Undertaker come out and and bid that, farewell and let him know that he'd been inducted into the Hall of Fame, which was an extremely special moment, I think. And it shows not only how respected AJ was, but how incredibly important he was to this generation of wrestling fans, And you could say, oh, he was important to the internet community and all this and that he didn't matter much to WWE, but what happened when he was brought to WWE? Brought immediately up to the main roster and debuting the way he did, people recognizing him and showing what a special, once in a lifetime wrestler he was. And I was one of the people who, for years and years, during his run in TNA, during his run, NWA, Wildside, whatever, Ring of Honor, etc., I was one of those people that honestly believed that he was the best wrestler in the world, and finally got a chance to do it on the biggest stage of all, and I'm real happy to see that he was able to do that, and I'm real happy to they had, the career that he was able to have. Would I have loved to have seen him go a lot longer? Of course. I'm a fan. I'm selfish. Of course I would have loved to have seen him go a little bit longer. Would have loved to have seen him have some matches. I mean, it always broke my heart. Obviously Shawn Michaels is not in any shape to return to the ring, but just like most fanboys, especially of AJ Styles, that was always one of my dream matches in my head, was him versus Shawn Michaels. And I think that match would have been absolutely insane. When you look back at the career of AJ Styles and you take into account like the three-way match he had with Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, and take a look at some of the matches he's had with Cena, matches he's had with Jericho, I got to see him live, and I got to see him, a very good friend of his, Christopher Daniels, I got to see him wrestle Christopher Daniels live, and it was excellent. It was really good, and especially them being as close friends as they are. It was good to it's good to see those two guys go at it because they have great chemistry in the ring, as with a lot of other, individuals. I still think AJ is one of those guys that could go in there, the proverbial broom handle and pull off a 5-star match. Who's just that good of a talent, and it's a shame that he didn't get to showcase that in WWE much longer. But in the same respect, would he have been the AJ Styles he is now if he was brought in earlier? I don't think they would have utilized him correctly. If he hadn't established himself the way he did in TNA, in New Japan, and established himself on the Indies the way he did, I don't think they would have utilized him the correct way. I think they would have looked at him as like an Evan Bourne or kind of a mid-carder that could maybe pull off an underdog win every now and then. But and the fans would have loved him, and they would have gone nuts for him. But to be a WWE champion, heavyweight champion, to be in the title hunt the way he always was, I don't think that would have been in the cards if he had come to WWE earlier. I really don't. but yeah, fond farewell to AJ Styles, and hope he enjoys his new life. Sorry if I seem a little distracted. There was some stuff moving in the studio here. I know it's been a minute, but I don't remember things moving on their own. I think there's a mouse in here. Wonderful. All right, have to put out some traps or something. But that's one of the really horrible things about coming. I just started redoing the studio again because in the absence of a podcast, unfortunately, the studio becomes where we choose to kind of put everything where we don't know where to put, like clothes and random items that don't have a place in the home otherwise. So I've been going through and reorganizing and cleaning up things, and it's been quite the struggle. So yeah, if you see if I seem distracted every now and then, trying to track down a mouse that I think is in here. So, and I can't let the cats in here, which I know, like my cat Miles would get this mouse in a heartbeat and finish it off. But I think he stays near because he feels safe. So, but yeah, like I said, we're going to try to change the format up a little bit. Probably going to focus a little bit more on music. The name will stay the same. We'll still have it wrestling related, but that's the thing too. When I began this podcast with Matt, my partner Matt, our original intent was never to do like a recap show, never to do commentary on the current affairs and whatnot. It was always, our intent was always to kind of focus on topics. And that's another thing too. I think I might have some more topic related shows, and that would be interesting. So we can do some shows like I've for years I've been wanting to do a show that focused on CTE, and especially I sat down and finally got to watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode focusing on Daphne, which I was a big Daphne fan, and I think that she, I think a lot of the female wrestlers today owe a tremendous amount of gratitude towards her, because she created that whole goth girl scream queen prototype that so many others, kind of Alexa Bliss, to a certain extent, Liv Morgan, a lot of girls have kind of taken even Rhea Ripley to some extent, because Daphne made it cool to be goth in the ring, and like I say, she set that prototype of how to do it right, and how to carry yourself, and how to dress, how to portray yourself and how to be a good worker in the ring, and when the events of her death ensued, it impacted me greatly because, like I said, I was a fan of hers. I followed her in WCW and in TNA, and wasn't happy, about the way things went down, and terribly upset about that. And like I said, I finally was able to bring myself to watch that episode with my wife, and it was hard in certain areas to watch. I do, like I said, I wish I could find like a T-shirt or something to pay tribute to her, but once again, she a lot of the wrestlers do owe her a tremendous amount of respect and a tremendous amount of what's the word I'm looking for? They owe her a lot. I'm trying to think of what the proper way to say it is. Excuse me. Tremendous amount of gratitude, and because she did develop a lot of that. And I'm trying to remember. So one wrestler, I've been having horrible time trying to remember names lately, and I hope to God it's just a passing thing. But a wrestler that was just recently released, which I liked a lot. Not that she was released, that I actually liked her a lot. Had said in an interview that Daphne had actually taught her how to scream without hurting her voice, without hurting her throat. And this is killing me because I can't. She was Sister Abigail in the Wyatt Six, and that's killing me. I can't think of her name. That's killing me. Because I really did like her a lot, and I wish they didn't release her. That whole Wyatt Six situation. Well, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in there because I think creative dropped the ball on so many things. I really do. Triple H has done a tremendous amount to improve the quality of the WWE product, but it seems like TKO is putting their hand way too much in things. And I know they don't like supernatural characters, so they decide to eliminate a lot of those types of characters. Unfortunately, Malachi Black is gone. Aleister Black, or whatever you want to call him, is gone, which I hate. I really enjoyed his wrestling. I want to know what's going on with him, though. I wonder if there were some backstage things, if he's difficult to work with or whatnot. I hope not, because I really enjoyed his wrestling, but unfortunately, TKO can't stand any of those types of wrestlers that have any type of dark character or any type of mysticism or kind of any of that element associated with them. And did they not watch the product and see Undertaker for how many years? Or Bray Wyatt for how many years? And even previous to that, you had the list goes on and on and on. It's been a tradition within wrestling for a very long time, and I enjoyed that element of wrestling, but it is what it is, and this is the current product, and TKO owns WWE, so we have to kind of bear and grin it, unfortunately. Because for a while there, really, Triple H had a real full head of steam and was really doing a tremendous job with leading the ship. And recently I've seen, from what I have seen, there's been a tremendous drop-off in quality. And I'm hearing that there's a lot more, they want to try to focus a lot more on celebrities being within there and trying to get them to wrestle. And that's a product, unfortunately, of TKO. Really, really saddens me, and eventually there's been rumors for a long time now about the eventual sale of WWE to, Saudi Prince or whatever, which would make matters much, much worse, I think. I don't know if TKO is trying to up the product and make it that much more valuable, but I always thought that they enjoyed that type of character, because it seems like Undertaker was in demand for all that time, so, I don't know. I guess time will tell on that, but, I wanted to, obviously check in. Excuse me, 1 minute. Oh, excuse me. Wanted to check in and, create another show and, hopefully get the ball back and rolling. I don't know what day I'm going to do these on. I mean, in the past, it got switched up many times because of my son's schooling and whatnot. But, we were doing it for a long time on Mondays and, putting the, content up on, like, Tuesday. But we'll have to see where things go from now. I'm recording this on Tuesday / I should say Wednesday morning. But we'll have to see it. All depends on how much time I have to process and edit things and get things uploaded. But I do appreciate everyone for coming back to check out the show. I do thank you very much. Hopefully, like I mentioned, hopefully we'll get this back on track, and we'll get everything back on the road and get going here, because there's still a lot to talk about. There's still a lot of things going on locally. There's a lot going on, and whether it be wrestling, whether it be music, whether it be locally, who knows? But I'm gonna get on and use this microphone as my platform to discuss and express myself. So, but thank you for tuning in. God bless, and hopefully we'll see you next week. All right, thank you for tuning in.